Hello everybody, welcome back. We're doing a special evening stream. I feel like I'm very white. Is that better? I've got this little streamer light here. I can make myself look undead, but maybe it's good to have a little bit of color there. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna be doing random stuff. I don't know, just kind of hanging out, just doing random stuff that I figure I can work on. Probably will get through a couple more bugs because those are still hanging around in the backlog. But yeah, I won't do the ads right now, but you could check out the game. It's Alka Mortis. It's the Steam page is linked below, and the playtest is still available, the open playtest. It will end this week, that playtest. So you probably have just a little bit of time left to give it a try. So get your runs in before it ends. And yeah, I think that's it. All right. Hello, Emerson. Good to see you again. Hello, Hive B. Welcome. Back again for the evening. Yeah, we're just going to hang out. Hello, Clickertail. Hello, Wooius. Good to see you again. Swabby Games Live. Welcome. Mohall. Caught me right before sleep. It's midnight here. Have a good stream. Sounds good. Have a good night. Hello, Cake Hug. Midnight here as well. We'll probably lurk. That sounds good. Hello, V. Welcome back. Backpack Battle Alchemy style with roguelike. I must try this game. Yes, please do. Please do. I'm going to the gym. I will lurk too. Undead's on theme. Stream on midnight. How many people is it midnight for? It's only 6. Lots of people 6 hours ahead of me. I'm already in game and the Discord will play tonight. Awesome. Thank you, thank you. Alrighty, so I was working on the tutorial a little bit before stream. That one's still kind of like a head scratcher to me, so I'm kind of working on it in little bursts, just trying to make incremental improvements to it and think about it a little bit more. It is going to be something interesting is rebindable controls. That might be a good one to get started on. But I do want to go through these bugs here. Let me just make sure. Scrolling with 2-finger trackpad like Mac. Probably can't do that one on stream. The tutorial bugs, I'm not going to worry about right now. Brittle legs does not work when transferred to other items. Maybe we'll address that one too. All right, magnifying glass artifact. When you use gold to duplicate a 1x1 item, it doesn't get the extra ability slot. Let's take a look at that. This one may be a little bit tricky, actually, to resolve. I can sense some side effects happening already. But let's take a look. So, enable test player artifacts. Let's put some gold in here first. Let's just use my favorite 1x1 item, the candle, because it's easy to remember. Enable test player artifacts. Magnifying glass. Cool. And we'll suppress the tutorial. Ignore save file, ignore unlocks. Good. All right. I was thinking about changing gold anyway, so that might entirely sidestep this problem. So 1x1 items gain an additional ability slot but have their cooldowns increased by 1 second. So we've got this. We've got this with the additional ability slot, but if I do gold, creates a new item of the same type as one random item. So we got that, and yeah, this is not giving the additional ability slot. So maybe the easy thing to do here. So yeah, I think the easy thing to do actually, pick card with ID. So this calls Artifact Manager Modify Player Card. So if we go to gold, Alchemy Transmute Input. I wonder if we just do set tier capped, selected card.tier. Maybe we just do artifact manager dot modify player card, new card. Am I going to regret that? That's a good question. I'm probably going to change gold anyway, so it doesn't matter, but... I wonder if there's a better way of structuring this. On acquired. What does acquisition... Oh, artifact events acquired. Okay. Modify player card, increment bonus. Is card valid for bonus? Dimensions is equal to 1 and not has tag reagent. I wonder, there might actually be a better way for me to do this. Modify player card. Is this actually what I want to do? Modify player card. I actually maybe have a better way of doing this. Card mouse events manager. Actually, board manager. Card entered player possession. Oh, that's not what I want. On card placed on player owned board. Yeah, that's not what I want. Okay. What I'm thinking is maybe I should rework that. Maybe not. I mean, that might be too much. I'm thinking if I reworked the board manager to track the first time a player-owned card gets added to a board, that might be a more appropriate trigger for things like the magnifying glass. But I guess that seems like an overcomplication to me. I guess what I'm trying to do is just search for a way where I can just get that behavior for free so that this kind of situation doesn't happen again. And the reason, the reason why I don't... let me think. The reason why I don't want it to... Yeah, I just don't want to end up with other situations where, like, I need to make the magnifying glass take effect. So I actually think it would be appropriate to do that. I wonder if it's worth the time. So card entered player possession. I think I could slightly modify this. So this is on card placed on player owned board. Player possessed cards .add connect to pre-delete. The question is, do I want to do all this? On card, is there like a card placed? On card placed, here we go, board. Add range, positions. Yeah, so what I could do, last known card positions. I want to see if this works actually. Registered cards, what is this? On card, oh, look at that, registered cards. If not registered cards contains card node connect to pre-delete on card pre-delete registered cards add on card pre-delete. So I already have this pattern in place. So what I could do potentially is what? Yeah, I think what I could do is card placed. If card ref, if card is owned by player, let's just put this down here. We're going to do something like artifact manager dot on player owned card placed. On player owned card first placement. First board placement. How long can we make this? On player owned card first board placement. Well, it's a long name, but it's pretty descriptive. I mean, you can't really... I don't think you can really mess up what that means. So we'll keep that. So let's create that. Public static bool on player owned card first board placement. We will I guess we want to do create artifact context. Wait a minute, what am I doing? Oh no, we probably just want the card ref. Or we could just pass in the base card. That might work. Okay. And we don't need this to be a bool. I don't know why I made that bool. Handle artifacts. That is not what I want either. Base artifact dispatch event. Oh, dispatch. Oh, I have an artifact event system, right. Fudge. Okay, so I need to figure that out. Artifact event T payload. Artifact events. Artifact event base card. Player owned card. First board placement. So do I just... I forgot how to use this, to be honest. Artifact manager.dispatch. Wonder why I haven't moved everything to that dispatch way of doing things. Dispatch artifact events dot player own card first placement T payload card. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So then we go to the magnifying glass, and this changes to subscribe artifact events dot player owned player owned card first board placement. Well, I guess it's not as as clever of a name as I thought. Okay, I'll catch up with the chat in just a second. Let's see. Modify player card. I don't want to do this anymore. On player card, owned card, first board placement. Now wait a minute, this doesn't get the artifact context either? I guess I don't really need it. If not, is card valid for bonus card return? Otherwise, I forgot. I deleted the code that I needed. Oh, increment bonus ability slots. That's it. Okay. This for some reason doesn't work. Oh, this needs to be an... Oh, it does get the artifact context. Oh, right. Artifact context. Yeah, I don't know why I'm not using this subscription style for everything, but that may be a more reliable way of doing that, because now what I can do is I can remove anywhere where modify player card is called. Well, not anywhere. Actually, yeah, I need to keep that. I may be able to move away from that, but I don't need it here at least. All right, let's try. 7 p.m. 12:16 a.m. 11:16. I'm on West Coast, so it's mid-afternoon for me. Yeah, there you go. Make bosses great again, yes. Hello, Andres Martin. Welcome. Good to see you. Hello, Nathan Byler. Welcome back. Hello, Liminal. Good to see you. So, this is still getting an empty ability slot. When I change things around, it doesn't get another ability slot. When I use the gold, it doesn't get an ability slot. What the heck? Oh, it got one when I moved it out. Why does it not count for on card play? Oh, am I not? Track. Oh, it's only tracking last known card positions. Interesting. Do I want to connect to... Okay. So this is actually not what I want. What does my registration look like? I don't have a faction associated with the board. That's interesting. I didn't realize this was only for tracking the last known positions. But that's actually probably okay. If Godot is owned by player... Maybe I'll pass in the board registration for this call as well. Or can I not do that? Connect to card placed. Oh, yeah, we have the registration here. I might as well just pass the registration along. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is this, all of this stuff is only relevant. So we'll do if registration dot track. Oops. Registration.board dot track last what is it called? Registration.board.track last. Let's just store the board as well. Okay, if board dot track last known card positions, then we're gonna do this chunk in here. Okay, so that can all be on its own thing, but I'm gonna register all the cards anyway. Okay, awesome. So this is gonna actually start tracking more cards than it needs to, but that's fine. I mean, that's not really gonna be a problem. Last known card positions dot remove. Again, this is not going to be a problem either, so I don't really care about that. So I think that's fine. That's some older code for sure. All right. Oops. Come on. Who's going to bet it's going to work? Place your bets right now. You have 5 seconds to place your bets. Here we go. Here we go. Is it going to work? Are we going to get a candle with 2 ability slots? Going once, going twice. Kerblam. Here we go. And we got it. Excellent. Hooray, we got it. So now I need to test and make sure that this is still dropping from... It won't. Okay, we got one yes. Let me make sure that this is still working for 1x1 items that are dropped from boosters. It should work because these are owned by player cards. And of course I'm not going to get a 1x1 item, but that's all right. Let's see. Come on, drop. There we go. Another candle. Imagine that. But yeah. So there we go. We got the empty ability slot. Ooh, the question though is... Wait, how does that work with the save file? I don't even know. I always forget that the save file is a thing. I always forget that players want to save their progress. Can you imagine that? Imagine how entitled today's players are. They want to save their progress. That's unbelievable, dude. So we've got empty ability slot there. There's a ring with an empty ability slot. So what happens when I do this and I go back? Is that going to trigger it again? I have a bad feeling that it's going to do that. Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay. So bonus ability slots must just be transient data. I honestly forgot. Bonus ability slots. Is this just transient data? No, it's saving it in the save file. Interesting. Wait a minute. Bonus ability slot. Is this being used? Uh-oh. I wonder why this is working. Maybe there's a race condition here. Oh, I wonder why that's working actually. Why is that working? Interesting. I need to get to the bottom of this. I'm not really comfortable. I'm not really comfortable with that just relying on like a certain ordering of things. Hello, Adonis. Welcome. Do you have any resources on how to make good UI in Godot, specifically with using the different types of control nodes? I don't. I wish I did. I wish I could point you to something. But yeah, I don't have any. Yeah, I just don't have any good resources. My experience with control nodes is mostly just from playing around with things myself and figuring it out. Yeah, I don't really know. What could I say useful about control nodes? Yeah, it's just it's a relatively I don't know if complex is the right word. It's somewhat unintuitive, the control layout system, and of course doesn't help that there's a plethora of control nodes that you can use. What I will say is that there's very little that I can accomplish there's, how do I want to word this? I can accomplish most of what I need to accomplish with my UI by just using like 3 basic control node types, maybe 4 basic control node types. The base control node, the margin container, the HBox container, and the VBox container. Like, I could create most of the UIs that I need. I think, as a matter of fact, most of the UIs of this game are just those ones. So that may help a little bit because, you know, it does get overwhelming, the number of control nodes that are available, but if you look at like this drawer UI scene, which is probably the most complex UI in the game, like look, most of these are just plain control nodes, and then I've got an HBox container. I have a margin container, a VBox container. I've got some toggle buttons. Those are a different type of control node. There's another VBox container. There's another regular control. There's more margin containers there. Margin container, margin container, margin container. So it's mostly just a matter of like using those handful of nodes and then just playing with the size flags to get them to fill the area that you need. Again, that's probably not very helpful, but I wish I had a resource that I could point you to, but I don't. What's the oldest line of code? That is a good question. Oldest line of code. The oldest line of code has to be probably in the turn. It's probably got to be in the turn manager. Can I do like a blame on this? So you can see some of these are 1 year ago. 1 year ago. 1 year ago. This is probably over a year ago. I wonder if I could get April 11th, 2025. Yeah, so like, I mean, the project started in March of 2025. So April 11th, 2025 is like probably right around a month after I started the project. So probably the oldest code is in here because this is like the foundation of the combat system. Everything kind of is run by this turn manager. And this has actually changed very little for the entirety of the development. So yeah. Why is the magnifying glass not... I want to get rid of that blame. Why is the magnifying glass not running again? On player owned card first board placement. So if I go to my board manager, connect to card placed, register board. Is there some kind of deferred register happening? Let me just see. Phoenix. Yeah, so these are all being called. Artifact Manager Dispatch. Oh, you know what? I bet you my artifacts are being loaded after. Yep, the player artifacts are being loaded after the boards get loaded. So the artifact is actually not subscribed to the card placement signal. And you can see that I've named this load steps in exact order. And the reason why I named it that way is to indicate that these need to happen in this order. So I probably already solved that problem. So the artifacts don't get registered until after the boards get loaded in. That's probably exactly to solve the issue of artifact like board placement events triggering again. So the items are deserialized and loaded into the game prior to the artifacts being deserialized and loaded into the game. So as the cards are placed on the board, it is dispatching this player-owned card first board placement. The problem is, or not the problem, but the reason why it's working is that there are no artifacts yet that can handle this. So that makes sense. And the way that I'm gating, you know, so when you acquire the magnifying glass the first time, it will look for all the 1x1 items and then add that bonus ability slot to them. But this is acquired flag is actually persisted to the save file. So it knows to skip this on acquired when that has already been applied. So, okay, that makes sense. So there's actually no artifacts at the time that the player cards are loaded. Okay, good. I think we're good on that. I knew it from the start. A bunch of weirdos. Hello, Jack War. I'm very new to game development. My big concern is drawing pixel art. I want to use Godot. Any tips to start learning? Is making with AI good? Your recorded live videos include this? Well, pixel art, I'll say about pixel art that it's a skill like any other. You can learn it. You know, I certainly learned it. My pixel art skills were not that great even a couple years ago. So it's a skill that you can learn like any other. I would say for Godot, where to start learning. Read the documentation. The docs have a couple of good tutorials just baked into them, but also just get a feel for how Godot works by reading the docs and such. And then you can either just start making stuff based on the docs, or you can look for tutorials. You know, GD Quest has good tutorials. There are lots of free tutorials on YouTube. That might be a good place to start, just to get familiarized with the engine. But I think the rest of it is just figure, once you kind of have your bearings, once you kind of have a rough idea of what you need to do, then just try to build things on your own and struggle through the problems that come up from that. Try to solve those problems on your own. I think AI is appropriate to use as like a learning resource. So if you're confused about something, or you're reading something in the docs, let's say, and you just aren't following the docs for whatever reason, maybe the language is a little bit too technical for your skill level or something, you could paste that snippet into an LLM or something and say, hey, I don't understand what this is actually saying. Can you like explain it in better terms? What I would caution against is using AI to solve your problems, because you're never actually going to learn how to build games if the AI is solving the problems for you. I think using it as like more of a research tool, more of like a tutor to help explain concepts to you is fine. But yeah, you definitely don't want to use it to write your code for you, because you're going to be in the same exact spot that you're in right now. You may have something functional that the AI created, but the point is like you're not the one who has applied your learning and implemented that yourself. So yeah. Hello, Fletch Charge. In my humble opinion, AI can burn in freaking hell, but just about anything can be used for good. Bought Eldritch Star thinking its base cooldown was 7.6 seconds, but it was because an adjacent minion had 2.2 seconds CD in the shop. The shopkeeper scammed me. Oh, is that the way it works? I feel like it shouldn't work that way. I'll have to look into that. I mostly meant about learning the pixel art. And does your old live videos include some drawing pixel art, which I can watch? Actually, yes. The live stream that I did just earlier today, I drew these birdlings, these corrupted birdlings. So yeah, definitely do pixel art. I'm going to be doing a lot more pixel art in the next coming weeks as I move into like just doing full content development. So yeah, if you stick around, I'll be doing some of that more. But yeah, you could go back. All of the lives are on this channel, so just go back to the live tab, and you might be able to just scrub through some of those videos and see where I'm making art. Mostly mean about learning the pixel art. I don't know about AI for a learning tool for art, but yeah, I would definitely recommend against using AI for art, because people do not like that. People do not like AI generated art, especially in games. I mean, I don't know, and if anyone likes seeing AI generated images or anything anywhere, but especially for games, like, yeah, even if you just release like a little free game on itch.io or a game jam game or whatever, if people could tell that it's AI generated art, they're not going to play it. So I would caution against using AI for outputting your art. Now, what I have used AI for art related before is generating like custom reference images. So for example, I was struggling to draw the werewolf art. I didn't know like how to present it. I couldn't like visualize the perspective that I wanted in my head. So I asked ChatGPT to basically like generate a couple of like reference images of like pixel art werewolves, and it doesn't do pixel art that well. Like there was a bunch of mixels and stuff, but just seeing like how it was using like negative space and doing the highlights and stuff was really helpful to inform how I could approach doing mine. I don't use it that much for that purpose, only when I'm like really struggling and I can't find a reference on Google Images. Like pixel art werewolf on Google Images turns up like almost nothing useful. I find that that's true of like a lot of pixel art. Like I almost can't find good pixel art renditions of a lot of the stuff I'm drawing. So it's really hard to just find like a reference that I can look at, right? So let's just see. So like here's pixel art werewolf. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good art on here, but I think you can tell like none of the ways in which these werewolves are drawn like are really applicable to the style that I'm going for. Like maybe that one's kind of close. I could have maybe taken some inspiration from how that's presented. Like that's almost a pretty nice card shape there. But this one actually looks AI generated. Maybe it's not. I'm sorry if I besmirched the artist. But with like the birdling, for example, pixel art birdling, like I'm not going to get any results for that, right? Now, I didn't need to generate a reference image for the pixel art birdling, but see, like these are the kinds of guys that I was trying to draw. So why can't I, like, there's nothing, if I do pixel art birdling, there's nothing, like, it's literally, that's it. there's no other results. So it's hard to find reference images sometimes. It's the same as mashing up pictures without the creative direction. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, you know that art? It's not follow him. Also has a time lapse of it. Interesting. Okay. Well, sorry to that artist. Interesting that there's somebody in the chat who knows of the artist that made that werewolf art. Like drawings you have on the screen right now. Good job. Thank you. It's been tough, but I'm getting there. Okay, what was I gonna do? I just want to do a double check, make sure that all the 1x1 items are dropping with extra ability slot. That works, and then quit to menu, continue. Just make sure it's not adding. Okay, good. I think we're okay. So now anytime a 1x1 item enters the player possession or enters a player board for the first time, it will trigger that. So make magnifying glass more robust. So that's fixed. Wasp eggs does not show swarm altered abilities after alchemy in tooltip. Hellspawn egg does not carry over innate brittle legs. Okay, let's take a look at the wasp eggs here. So we're gonna do ignore save file. Let's add wasp eggs. Wasp eggs, I think that's okay. If there's one thing Firebelly is good at drawing, it's a skeleton. Well, thank you. I hope so. So the problem with this bug, so the swarm ability is not marked as new. And I don't know why that is, but I guess that's why we have to investigate the bug. So first, let's start with the wasp eggs and see what's actually going on here. Alchemy Swarm. Register post output callback. Oh, interesting. I wonder why I'm doing that. I don't think this is the proper way to do it. Actually, is this the only place where I do a post output callback? It is. So I think we can actually remove this. I think I need to take a different approach, because what's happening is the post output callback runs after the alchemy outputs happen. And so any changes to the abilities that are made, I don't have data. Like if I change an ability after the alchemy happens, that means that I don't have the change when the alchemy happens, right? And all that tooltip information is queued or keyed off of what changed as a result of alchemy, and the post output callback doesn't capture that. Now I think this was implemented before I had a way of like specifically removing abilities from items. So I think the proper approach now is to register the ability that I want to remove from the item, and then, oh, I think that, wait, another problem might be, another problem, maybe this was also getting around a separate problem, which is that I could apply swarm to an ability that ultimately gets replaced by alchemy, and that would be, okay, so I think the other reason I'm using the post output callback is to guarantee that the swarm gets added to a valid ability. Because if I say I want to replace this ability with a swarm version of it, then what that might do is that might end up replacing the ability. The other thing that I just thought of is that this post output callback preserves the placement of the ability. So if I were to remove and re-add the ability, what that would do is that would, let me think. What that would do is that would change the order. So if let's say an item has 4 abilities, I add swarm to the first ability. If I go to this approach, which I'm thinking about doing, it would remove the first ability, add swarm to it, and then add it again, and it would show up at the end. And I think the intent was just to add swarm to the ability in its current location in the ability list, because the ability order does matter, the execution order does matter. So generally speaking, I want to do as little as possible that will reorder things. Oh. So this is actually much deeper than I thought it was going to be. Good questions. Interesting. Good points, Firebelly. What are we going to do? I mean, I could add another way of... Man, I'm like burning up. 1 second. Let me go see if my AC died. One second. Oops, I left that on too long. Okay, BRB. We have a visitor now. Okay. Run along now, cat. The AC is not dead. Practice does not make perfect, but it helps get better if you actually do practice. That's true. Don't ask me to draw frogs. Please don't. One of the things that I had the most trouble drawing Frogs. What was the other one? Oh, I had a really tough time drawing the leech for some reason. Frogs, leech. I think like tentacle or other like snake-like creatures are relatively easy to draw, actually. I have a fun time drawing those. I can just get like the shape down usually pretty quickly. That's good. What else is hard to draw? I mean, like humans or humanoids can be hard to draw. I think that's basically the ones that are the most difficult. Do you enter game jams often? I was watching old VODs of your GMTK streams recently and learning a lot. I haven't been doing game jams as much recently because I've been full-time working on Alchemortis, and I really wanted to do the GMTK jam this year, but I need every day I can get to work on Alchemortis because the release is happening this year, and if you look at your calendars, we only have like 3.5 months left in the year, right? So getting down to the wire now. And so I just need every day that I can get to work. So I will probably do the GMTK next year and other game jams next year because I do like those. I do want to get in those. Like, I have a pie in the sky goal, like even beyond like being a successful game developer, like selling games on Steam. My one lifelong game dev goal is to get like top place in a big game jam like GMTK. Maybe not first place, but if I could do like top 10 or top 25, that's just like a goal that I would really like to accomplish, or an accomplishment I would like to accomplish. I think the closest I got was, actually, I shouldn't make up numbers. Let's see. I think the closest I got, which was with Ace of Sphinx, and I'm gonna see submission to game. So Game Jam 2022. Yeah, so I ranked number 52 in enjoyment on that one. And that was out of 6,000 entries. So that's pretty good, but not top 10. The new frog is pretty good. Practice is like a logarithm, it gets infinitely close to perfect over time. That's a good way of thinking about it. After acquiring a frog 100 times, it unlocks the vintage frog art. No. Can we rotate items? No, you cannot rotate items in this game. I'm realizing now that that's a big departure from other auto battlers, but that's fine. Like, that's part of the design. If you want your items to fit on your board, the solution is to use the alchemy system. Frogs are hard. The secret item seems hard. That looks really cool. Thank you. Yeah, the secret item, it wasn't difficult per se. It just took a long time. Because I mean, maybe I shouldn't say much about the secret item, but it did take a while. It took several hours of work, but I wouldn't say that it was particularly hard. GMTK 2027 will be August 11th, I think. Oh, so a year from now? Got 10th one time? That's great. That's awesome. Oh, but we don't talk about there being only 12 people. Well, okay, never mind. Hey, it's top 10, right? Didn't say how many people there were. So there's a lot of problems here. What do I want to do about this? I think I need to add a new... Let me look at my alchemy input config. Let's do close others. Okay, so maybe... Um, I'm trying to think. New composed abilities, final composed abilities. Is this what is used? Show effect for ability, yeah. So what needs to happen is I basically need to do an ability replacement step around here. It needs to not change the position of the ability in the execution order, and it also needs to remove it final composed, or it needs to add it to the new final composed abilities list. Or is this a hash set? No, it's a list. Okay. New composed abilities, final composed abilities. Okay, so we probably want to do a step here. Let me just stub this out for a second. So this would be like if, or maybe we can make this so we could do like for post alchemy ability modification in reagent effects post alchemy ability modifications. We will do, maybe we just add it to the new composed ability list. So we want to do something like, let's see, final composed abilities. We probably want to do something like var index ability is equal to post alchemy ability modification, something like that. And we might want to pass in the card. And then we'll probably do final composed abilities I is equal to, yeah, we might want to pass in like the final composed abilities here. Or maybe this would be like the second argument. Okay, and then we say final composed abilities I is equal to ability.duplicate. And then we would do something like new abilities.add. So we would want, maybe this should just return a duplicated ability or a new ability out of that. So we'll just say ability. I think that's kind of like what I want to do here. Maybe I'll call it like a post. Yeah, maybe we'll call it that. So let's go to reagent effects. Let's just create a list. I'm going to get rid of the post output callbacks, I think. We're going to get rid of that. This, yeah, we're going to get rid of this. That was a little bit too not good anyway. So let's do list. Public delegate int index base composed ability. Post alchemy ability modification. Post alchemy ability modification. We want this to accept a list of base composed ability, base card, final composed abilities. Post alchemy ability modifications. Register Oh. I guess I do need this to be a dictionary, huh? Register post alchemy modification. Post alchemy ability modification. If I get value out, we'll just call this function list, I guess. Function list dot add that. Okay. I think that's good, right? I don't care about this anymore. Alchemy input config. I'm gonna get rid of this. This is actually a simplification, I think. Reagent effects dot post ability alchemy modifications dot try get value card out var modification function list. For each var modification function in modification function list. What happens if that's null? Do I need to do this, or does that automatically just work? I guess we'll just do that to be safe. We would find out soon enough, I guess. Modification function list. So I would basically do var index to replace new ability is equal to modification function. I need to pass in the card and then the final composed abilities. Final composed abilities index to replace is equal to new ability. And then we're also going to do new abilities dot add new final composed abilities add ability. I probably also need to do this. New final composed abilities dot remove all x is equal to old ability. Okay. Okay, so then alchemy swarm, we actually do all of this as part of the registration here. So what I do instead here is I do effects.register post alchemy ability modification for card context dot target card post alchemy ability modification. So this becomes, what was the order I did? This would be card final abilities, something like that. And then this needs to return, right? So then this is where I need to do all of my, so this would be final abilities. We'll just say if final abilities dot length dot count is equal to 0, we'll just return, oh, there's a problem here, which is that I need to indicate just a non-replacement. So maybe I don't know if that's the best. Maybe I should return like a context object or something, but I'm just gonna ignore it. So here's what I'll do. If index to replace is less than 0 or new ability is equal to null, we'll just continue. Okay. All right, so random ability, final abilities, dot count. And then we got to do all of this. Replace base ability. Is this the only place where it was being used? Is dirty. I guess that's the only place where it's being used, so I can get rid of that too. All right, so we got the random ability. We copy all of this. Swarm, card factory, derived, duped. Okay. So we need to grab the index here though. Var target index is equal to that. Target index. Valid ability. Oh, I need to get valid abilities here, right? Valid abilities is equal to final abilities. Is not swarm decorator. Valid abilities. Valid abilities. Valid abilities. Okay. It would be a shame to miss that. Okay. Valid abilities dot count. Valid abilities target index. Oh, the problem though. Son of a biscuit. I need to convert the valid abilities. Okay, actually, so this is fine. We need to find a source index is equal to final abilities dot index of random ability. And this is not doing any duplication, right? No, it's not. Okay. All right, so then this needs to return source index and swarm. Is that right? Yeah. We can get rid of this now. A lot of work just to fix one little bug, but I guess we'll just see what happens. Gotta head to the store. Have a good stream. Thank you, Ninja Link. Hello, Wallaber. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, everybody. Hello, it looks like you're making a card game. Kind of, yes. It's an inventory management auto battler. It's called Alchemortis. It's coming out this year. The main special thing or the main hook of Alchemortis is that you can create your own builds using this alchemy system. So you can basically take each item or each card, however you want to think about it, has abilities that execute during the auto battler combat, like you would expect, but you can swap the abilities around and move abilities from different things and enhance abilities and whatnot with the alchemy. So for example, I could throw those two things into the pot there. They got corrupted, unfortunately, but that's okay. So you can see now that this corrupted birdlings item has a bunch of new abilities, one of which is a corrupted ability, but the other abilities came from the Phoenix, and the Phoenix now has the abilities of the corrupted birdlings, or one of the abilities of the corrupted birdlings anyway. So yeah, it's the typical inventory management auto battler that you would expect, things like Backpack Hero and other things like that, but you have the freedom to create your own builds by mixing and matching abilities from items. And then there's a whole reagent system. I'm actually fixing a bug related to one of the reagents right now. But reagents have effects which only apply when they're used in alchemy, so they're a way of further refining and targeting your alchemy outputs so you can really get into the build that you want to have. And of course, this is all wrapped in a roguelite formula, so, you know, the items that you get every run are going to be random, the reagents that you get every run are going to be random. You kind of have to make do with what you have and constantly reevaluate your strategy. So yeah, if that sounds like the kind of game that you guys are into, you can check out the Steam page. There's actually a playtest running right now, which will end this week, but you can still try it if you're interested. Sorry, the cat wanted out. So yeah, that's what I'm making. It was a normal reward where all items were adjacent to each other. Oh, gotcha, yeah. Hello, Jotson. Dark in Hell, hello. I saw this before, it looks amazing, thank you. Not sure why I wasn't already following you, fixed now. Well, thank you, I appreciate that. Are you also a game dev streamer, Wallaber? I don't spend a whole lot of time on Twitch, admittedly, so I don't know who's all on the platform doing stuff. Let's see if this works. Oh, did that work? Oh, you know what I just realized? I don't know if this approach is correct. Oh. Maybe this approach is not correct. Because this is a behavior change from the way it was before now. No, wait, is it a behavior change? I don't think so. No, I don't think it is, because they're both happening at like roughly the same part. I might have to stage these changes and check. I might have to stage these changes, let's see. Or not stage, stash. Stash those changes. Let's rerun and see what's happening. Wallaber is a legend. You have a few games on Steam. Jellycar Worlds, Parking Garage Rally Circuit. Oh, I think I have seen the Parking Garage Rally Circuit. I think I have seen that. All right, well, thank you again for the raid. I appreciate it. Your on-demand screen chat thingy, that's cool. Yeah, thank you. All right, I'll have to check your content out. I've been looking for more game dev streamers and YouTubers to watch. But yeah, thank you again, and I hope you have a great day as well. Okay, so let's check. What I'm confused by is this says add swarm to one random ability of items above, but that always happened after alchemy, so I think it's okay. Swarm heal 6. Swarm heal 6. Yeah, so see, this got swarm. This didn't have the heal ability before, and swarm got added to the heal ability. So it's actually working exactly the same in the sense that it applies after the abilities all get shuffled up by alchemy. It's just now I'm doing it at a different stage in the process so that I can register it as a new ability so that it plays the new ability animation. So now I can see which thing Swarm has changed. So that's good. I think this is okay now. So if I do this and I do that and I do that. Oh, legendary, look at that. Yeah, so the Swarm plays that in animation. Previously it wouldn't do that, but now it does. That's good. And it also did the Swarm heal 6. Excellent. Hello, Aaron TV, welcome. Or TTV, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. For me personally, the best thing in the game is the color palette. I just love it. Thank you, Gia, appreciate it. I did not make the color palette. I should do that as a disclaimer. Long-time viewers know that, but for anyone that's new here, the color palette is called Witching Hour. It's on lowspec.com. So I did all the art by hand. All the art is done by me by hand, but the colors of the palette were not chosen by me. I chose the palette, but I did not choose the individual colors. So just found a palette on low spec that works. It's 8 colors. So it's these 8 colors here. It's just, there's a transparent that's not part of it, but yeah. So it's those 8 colors. And the rule that I have for this game is that every single pixel that gets rendered to the screen has to be one of the 8 colors in the palette, which means that like I can't do transparency, for example, or I can't do like a standard like fade to black where I just put like a black quad over the screen and then like fade it out, because that would create colors, intermediate colors that are not in the palette. So for all of my fade effects and stuff, I actually have shaders that step through the colors in the palette down to the darkest color, which is like the black color. So I don't know what oh yeah, when I like bring this inventory up, you can see how it dims the background. That background dimmer is actually just stepping down the colors in the palette. It's not actually a transparent image. So yeah, I'm doing that kind of stuff all over the place. And when the map fades out like that, that's all just stepping through the colors. So it's been kind of a challenge, you know, trying to rigidly adhere to that. But I think that gives the game a very strong visual identity. So yeah. Okay. So we can mark that one as fixed, I think. Get rid of this, get rid of that. Cool. Let me do one more test. I should probably test what happens when there are no abilities to replace. Add item, Flaming Skull. Oh, that's not gonna work. Bell, maybe? Yeah, Bell, Wasp Eggs. That should do nothing. Oh, is it gonna swarm the Corrupted ability? No, it swarmed the Innate. Oh. Is that supposed to happen? I don't think Innate should be changed by this now that I think about it. Innate abilities cannot be copied, replaced, or transferred to other items. Well, I mean, it's technically not a replacement. I guess it is technically a replacement, actually. Oh, shoot. Do I make Swarm not affect Innate? I feel like that's inconsistent. Innate abilities are supposed to be abilities that basically cannot be touched by alchemy unless you have special reagents to do that. But the Wasp Eggs does not. I might have to change that. I need to be consistent with my game rules. Sorry to everyone if that makes it less fun. I don't think it will. I think it's still going to be very powerful. Not X dot is passive and X. The way to do X is alchemizable. Is alchemizable is basically just this long string of checks. Okay. All right. All right, let's try that again. What programs do you use for making sprites? Just Sprite. That's it. I just load up Sprite and draw the things. But the way you use the palette and made everything work inside is awesome. That's some great artwork. Thank you. Do you have unit tests in the project? I have one unit test. I have one unit test to ensure basically that, so each item has defined abilities and each ability within that item has a specific key, which is like an identifier. So I have one unit test that makes sure that for all items in the game, all of the ability keys on that item are unique to that item. That's literally the only unit test that I have. And it's not even running automatically in CI or anything. I just run it on occasion to make sure that I'm not breaking anything. Which is, you know, you could argue that it kind of defeats the point of a unit test, and I would agree with you, but yeah, it's all right. So is this going to swarm the corrupted ability? No, it didn't. Okay, so the swarm didn't do anything there. Add item wasp eggs. Add item bell. See, now I feel like it should have swarmed. Oh, wait. Yeah, I feel like it should have swarmed that. I wonder why it didn't do that. Oh, because corrupted abilities are not alchemizable either. Oh. All right, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to undo that change. I think it's going to be more fun if it can target innate and corrupted. So I'll just note that on the wasp eggs. Alchemy Swarm. I mean, this is the only place where I'm using it, though. Keywords.swarm.capitalized can be applied to keywords.innate and keywords.corrupted abilities. We'll just make a note that swarm does affect those, because this is like an override of the rule. So we'll just make a note of that. We'll keep it functionally the same as it was previously. So I need to build, then I'll build my translations. And I'm missing innate and corrupted from the keywords list. So I need to do this. So swarm, add additional keywords. Keywords.innate, keywords.corrupted. Okay. Eldritch Star plus zombie passive plus embalming fluid. Now we're rolling. The game is a ton of fun. Wishlisted. Thank you, Swabby Games. Appreciate that. Will not play anymore. Are you saving for a full release? Wallower's profile says they were the lead designer. Where's My Water? I have not heard of that game, unfortunately. I mean, I'm like, for the fact that I'm trying to be a game developer, I'm like woefully out of touch with like what is happening with games. I like don't even know what's going on. Okay. Keywords.swarm can be applied to innate and corrupted abilities. Okay. You use something like AstroPad or something similar for drawing, or just mouse and A sprite? It's just mouse, yeah, just mouse and A sprite. I don't have any fancy anything. Okay, so now we made a note of that. Cool. All right. Fix wasp eggs not showing as new ability. All right, that one feels good to have done. Let's see, we got another bug here. Combat summary, Hellspawn egg does not carry over innate abilities to imp. Make it work with duplicate abilities of hatch. Okay, let's do that then. So yeah, I mean, for clarity, like I'm not an artist. Like I would not describe myself as an artist. I'm like a programmer first and foremost. I've been learning pixel art for a couple of years, and I would say I've even learned a lot about pixel art just over the course of this project. So I don't have like a bunch of tools that you might expect artists to have, because I just, you know, the whole reason why I decided to learn pixel art is so that I could make the art for my own games. Because I tried hiring people to make art before, and not only is that very expensive, but it's hard to get the results that you want. I never really liked the idea of using asset packs because they felt really limited to me. And so yeah, I just decided, you know what, if I want to make games as a solo dev, I need to learn how to make my own art, because I can't just afford to pay somebody and also like wait for them to deliver the art and then go through multiple rounds of revision. I need to be able to just like create the game with no barriers, right? So it's a long process, but we're getting there. Where's My Water was like a big mobile game in 2011. It was at least published by Disney Mobile, subsidiary of Disney Interactive Studios. Interesting. You think A-Sprite is worth $20 instead of using online ones like Piskel, even if I don't know my game is going to be published yet? Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, $20 is not a big cost for me personally. So the $20 convenience fee to get like just an app that you can run on your PC, You can compile Aseprite yourself, but I didn't want to deal with that, right? So it's just like, it's a $20 one-time purchase. You know, my Steam library says I've got like 3,000 hours in Aseprite. It's like, for me, it was well worth the money. I'm the kind of person, though, where it's like, if I can spend money to save myself time or headache, like if I can spend money to gain a convenience factor or like just get access to something that I need, then I'm happy to do that, right? So yeah, $20 is not, you know, I don't usually balk at anything that's like $20 for a development tool. Or like sound effects packs, like a sound effects pack will come up and it's like, pay $20 to get 3,000 sound effects or whatever. I'm like, okay, I don't even know if I need those sound effects yet, but here's $20. I'll store them in my hard drive and then maybe I'll use them later. Would you ever be interested in forming, working on a small indie team? I don't know. I don't think so. I like working solo, but we'll see. I don't want to count my chickens. You know what I'm saying? Where's My Water and Cut the Rope were amazing games that I loved, but then they sold. Wow, rating party of 72. Wow, thank you, Freshwater Fern. Appreciate that. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Hello, Starlight Carrots, Max Wattage. Thank you, Freshwater Fern. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Hello, S2 System. Coding wise, do you create branches when you implement a new feature that may break main, or do you commit every time to main? It depends. Like if I know I'm going to be doing something very destructive, then yeah, I'll do a feature branch. But usually I just commit directly. So I mean, I do, with the caveat that my goal is for every commit to be a how do I want to say this? Every commit should leave the code in a compilable state. So my goal is like, how many commits do I have? I think I have over 4,000 commits. I have almost 5,000 commits. So I have almost 5,000 commits. And I think every single one of those commits, save for like 3 or 4, is a commit that I could check out and I could compile the game and run it and it would work in some sense. Like it may not be feature complete and there may be bugs in it, but I can compile the code, I can run the game, and something will appear on the screen that's not obviously broken. So that's really the only goal that I strive for. So if I'm going to do like a big feature on the main branch that I know is going to be multiple commits, I just try to make sure that every commit that I do leaves it in that state, right? The game is runnable, the code is compilable. Even if that feature is incomplete, those two things, at least if those two things are true, then we're in good shape. But if I want to do, like I said, if I want to do something more destructive or something that I'm not really sure about, I'll do that on a feature branch so I can just freely destroy stuff. And then when I say, this actually isn't working, I might have 5 commits on that feature branch that I can just like drop and go back, right? My favorite SFX pack is free. I hunted down for the Perry noise and Bunny Must Die. Oh, nice. Big raid. That is a big raid, yes. Is this Trello? This is Obsidian with the Kanban plugin, the Obsidian note-taking app. We be supporting fellow indies. You're a very committed guy. Thank you. Yeah. But anyway, for all the new people here, I'm working on my game Alchemortis. It's a inventory management auto battler where you can create your own builds and synergies using the alchemy system. So it's an auto battler like you would expect. You know, I can put my items on the board and they have various synergies. Go into combat, stuff starts happening, right? And I just died. Actually, I clicked auto resolve. But what I can do is I can use the alchemy system to mix and match a bunch of abilities. So the Skull Tower applies 7 armor, this applies 1 poison, this applies 8 fire and heals for 6, etc. So I can throw those all into the alchemy system, and what that will do is that will essentially shuffle the abilities all around. And so now I've got a Phoenix, which does armor, poison, and has a passive for corrupted abilities. This guy here has heal and armor, and then this one has 8 fire, becomes exhausted. So that's the like sort of the main hook of the game. You can create your own builds by just mixing and matching abilities from different items.
And then there's reagents, which, like, I just got a reagent, a legendary stonemason's chisel. So these reagents are ways that you can more directly control the alchemy outputs, because it's random by default, but then you could use alchemies or reagents in the alchemy together with your items to get more control. So you like reduce the randomness by introducing reagents to craft exactly what you want. So anyway, that's the game. It has a Steam page. It's linked below. There is a playtest running right now, so if this is your kind of game, you can definitely check it out and give the playtest a try. Let me know what you think. But yeah, tonight we're just chilling. I'm just fixing a bunch of random bugs with the game. When I found out, realized it's been used in thousands of games, including Erog. I haven't heard of that one, but yeah. I have not heard of that one. Okay, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and then when I come back, we're going to address this bug here. This will be a fun one. It's related to the Hellspawn egg, which has a special interaction, but I'll get into that in just a second. Anyway, be right back in 3 minutes, and we will continue on. Okay, I'm back. Is Obsidian like a good platform to keep track of stuff? I mean, for single or very few devs, I don't know about that. I think there's probably better tools for that. Obsidian, first and foremost, is just a local note-taking app. So it's not even designed to be for a Kanban board. This is just a plugin that somebody made for it. So the primary reason why I use it though is because all of your notes and everything in this app are stored locally to your hard drive. So I don't have to worry about like cloud services or having a bunch of different accounts or whatever. And I can, you know, back up my own data, all that stuff. So it's really good, like for my purposes, because I get to keep all of my tasks local to my computer. But I think it would be really hard, if not downright impossible, to get this to work with multiple people coming in here and like working on this at the same time. I think the sync options for this is like, this app is mostly just built for one person's like personal notes. So I don't think I would try to use this for any more than just like solo development. Is the Obsidian files in the Git project? No, I have my Obsidian vault in a different spot. You know, thinking back, it probably would have been a good idea to include the Kanban board in the Git project itself, but I already had the Obsidian vault set up when I started Alchemortis, so I just kind of like threw it in here. But I think it could be a good idea for sure. All right, Hellspawn Egg does not carry over innate abilities to Imp. So let's take a look at first of all, let's explain what the Hellspawn Egg does. We'll see what the Hellspawn Egg does. So this hatches after 4 combat victories, and it hatches into add item imp. It hatches into this imp ultimately. So what we want to do is we want to make it so that all the abilities that get added to this Hellspawn Egg through alchemy get transferred to the imp, or at least as many abilities as possible. And we also want to see what happens. Well, let's handle that first. I'm in touch. This is one of the earliest items that I made, so context, get cardboard owner, card position, try remove card, create an imp. We're transferring over all the enchantments. Context to base card, get where ability is not innate. So we want to do where ability not equal to context dot ability listener root ability. Select ability duplicate. Add composed abilities. So this is actually mostly okay. Add composed abilities. If context.basecard.is alchemized, set alchemization count. Do I need to do that? I think that's redundant. I could just move this out. Okay. Set base tier. That's good. Actually, I think this is mostly correct. I think the only problem is it was stripping all innate abilities, which is what I don't want. I wanted to just only strip this innate ability from it. Base card.destroy. We do the announcement. Okay, well, we could test this. Make sure that this works as expected. The video about using server-side commands that Firebelly made me realize how little I know about optimization. It sent me a good few months of learning about architecture and how Godot works and how it can be an incredibly efficient engine. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that video. I'm still learning that stuff myself, so there's a lot of little like optimization things you could do in Godot for sure. My next game that I want to make after Alchemortis is going to be I'm going to have to pay a lot of attention to optimization, I think, which is good because I need to learn more about that, generally speaking. So, yeah. But anyway, let's do this. Let's also grab, I don't know, what kind of innate ability? Let's just grab the bell again, I guess. Should use a more interesting ability, I suppose. Take all these things out, put this back. I just want to fill this item up with abilities. Okay, and then what we want to do is grab, add item, blood bulb. So the blood bulb is an interesting reagent. So innate abilities in this game, they typically cannot be altered by alchemy. So when you throw an ability or throw an item in the alchemy pot with an innate ability, that innate ability will not change by default. But there's this legendary reagent, the blood bulb blossom, which will absorb and remove a random innate ability from one adjacent item. So what I can do is I can actually take the innate ability off the bell and put that onto the blood bulb. And now the blood bulb allows me to put that innate ability on a different item. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put that innate ability on the Hellspawn egg. So we got that. So now I have the innate resets the cooldown of one random enemy item. So now the challenge here, let's add God mode to myself, which just does 10,000 damage. Actually, why is that not being formatted correctly? Oh, never mind. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. So I'm just going to win 4 combats real quick. Unfortunately, I have to click through all this stuff, but I added the new debug mode, which allows me to just jump around the map however I want, which is good. So I'm just going to go through and just smack down a bunch of combats. So we've got 1 victory remaining until this hatches. So let's just take a quick look. So we've got 1 innate ability, and actually there's one other thing that I want to do to test this before I do anything else. We're going to add a gemstone. This adds an extra ability slot. So we're going to add that to the Hellspawn egg. So we've got an empty ability slot now. And let's just put poison onto it. Oh, it's going to get corrupted, huh? That's all right. So now it has 1 innate ability, 1 corrupted. Is that right? 1 corrupted. Oh yeah, I suppose that is right. Okay. So it's got 2, yeah, it's got 5 abilities. Good. 5 abilities besides the innate that it comes with normally. So now let's see what happens. So I do this, bam. So we still got that innate ability. We still got that. We got the project to adjacent items applied to fire. So we're carrying over the imp ability. And now we have all those rest of the abilities. So is that 6 abilities? Yes, it is. Okay, good. So yeah, so we just made that change. It's not going to erase any other innate abilities now, just the hatching egg one. Now there is something else that I want to test real quick, which is what happens if I add another blood bulb. So add another blood bulb and then add another Hellspawn egg. Hellspawn egg. And then I grab that innate off of the egg. Oh, you know what? You know what's fun about this? Now I can just have an egg that has a 66.6 second cooldown. It will never hatch. That's kind of fun. And then I can put this on the imp. Actually, I think this will. Oh wait, is this not going to work? Hold on a second. Oh. Right. So there is a bug here. So this currently doesn't do any guarding to make sure that it's on the egg. Shoot, I have save file enabled too. Can I force a save? Wait a minute. Let's see. I'm going to turn ignore. Oh no, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I'm going to be able to save this state. Let me see if that actually saved or not. I think it's not going to save. That's kind of unfortunate. I don't really want to recreate all of that, but I guess I don't really need to recreate all that, but let's just see. Yeah, it didn't save. I should probably make that dev command override the ignore save file flag. But that's all right. It's fine. We won't worry about that. Okay. So the problem here is that if I take add item, candle. So if I were to put this on the candle, oops, I did the wrong thing. My bad. I'm not thinking. Put this on the candle. We got the innate. So this will hatch now. But the problem that I'm going to run into is that it's going to try to create a 2x2 item. And there's currently nothing that handles the situation where there's no room for the item. Now, I think what it will do is it will just silently fail. Also, this says Hellspawn egg has hatched every time. I mean, that's probably okay. That's just a minor detail. So, I mean, there's two approaches to this, right? I could just make this ability not work if it's not on the egg. But the other approach is that if it happens to be on an item that if it happens to be, let me think. If it can't be placed at the given position, then what I can do is add it to the overflow. I think I may have to do that. So anyway, let me just see what happens. So I need to beat 4 more combats again. Since you seem very knowledgeable, after some study I saw that C# could be less efficient in Godot compared to using standard GDScript or C++ when efficiency is needed, all because of the marshalling. That's true, yes. So if you want to squeeze performance out of C#, the most important thing, I would think, is to avoid interacting with the Godot API as much as possible. So you want to reduce the number of operations that actually communicate with the C++ layer, because taking data from the C++ layer, marshalling it into a way that the Godot C++ code can understand, and then it has to be marshaled again to return to the C# layer. And so that round trip can be it's really quick, like practically speaking, but if you're in a situation where you're doing like thousands or tens of thousands of operations, that will slow down very quickly. So you want to keep things for performance-oriented code. Yeah, see, that deleted the candle and it didn't place the imp. So for performance reasons, what you want to do is avoid interacting with the Godot API as much as possible. The art and fluidity of all this amazing looks very cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Can you transport the innate ability of the Hellspawn egg to other items too? Yes, you can. Yeah. What about the Strange Man? He turns into another item too. So the Strange Man is fine because he gets added to the overflow. So it doesn't try to actually replace the item on the board. It removes the item and then it adds it as a combat reward or like an overflow reward. So that one's fine. I think this is just as simple as doing this. If not, try place card at position. Then what I do is I do card overflow manager dot add cards to overflow new card. So basically, I want to make sure that the item I want to make sure that the player is not losing the items that they should be getting. So as a fallback, we'll just show it in like a little extra selection window. So we add card to overflow. That's basically it. So we can try this again. And just for the sake of testing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stage those and then change the required victories to 1. And then we can try that out. My second Steam game has been out for a month. I've sold 0 copies. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. It's Ramsey. I mean, look, the first couple of games that I released on Steam basically didn't sell any copies either. So it feels bad. It's not fun. It sucks, but I think it happens. It happens to a lot of people. Just got to take what you learned and try again. Like none of my games, like I don't think I sold more than like 150 copies before Gunforged. And I did 3 Steam games before Gunforged. So, yeah, it goes that way. I know how you feel for sure. I know how you feel. Ignore save file. That's what I want. I see you're using C#. Is it because you are more familiar with it? Or are you avoiding inefficient stuff? So efficiency is really kind of like a non-issue, except for certain situations, like this unlock menu, which shows all the items in the game. Getting this to render in a reasonable amount of time was hard, and this was the subject of the video that I made. But that's still not as performant as it could be, so I want to do some more work on that. But for the most part, like I could just do things the very straightforward way, and it might not be the most efficient way of doing it, but this game is so lightweight that it doesn't matter, right? So yeah, I just use C# as a matter of personal preference. Are you pulling chat? How are you pulling chat messages like that? Are you queuing them? It's pretty cool, dynamic. It's an app called Social Stream Ninja. And basically what it does is it listens for the chats that come in through the various platforms and it combines them into a unified chat. And then I can just click on them to highlight them on stream, which is pretty cool. Glad to know that. Yeah, you're welcome. All right, what am I doing? I want to do this with a blood bulb. Blood bulb. Do this. Let's put this in the middle. Okay, so we've got the blood bulb now. So the funny thing about this is I add things to the game, like the blood bulb, and then I forget that there's certain innate abilities that may not work with that. So I just need to like keep an eye out for innate abilities that need to work when they're put on other items. Because before, it's like, oh, this innate ability can never be on another item, so I can just make certain assumptions, and like I can't make those assumptions anymore. Oops. Well, I guess a Hellspawn egg has hatched. So that announcement is wrong. I may change that wording as well. Do I want to change that wording, or do I just leave it? So anyway, so now we've got the imp here. So that just gets added to the overflow. I don't lose anything, but it still works in the Hellspawn egg case, the standard case. So it will fall back to that. Add item. Hellspawn egg, we'll just put it there. Item God mode. Hellspawn egg, there's the imp right there. So it shouldn't be added to the overflow anymore. Good. Okay, undo this because this needs to go back to 4 required victories. Do I want to change this wording? I could say like, the problem is it's going to be a problem for the strange man as well, because it says the strange man has disappeared. I might just keep it. It's just it's a very minor detail. I don't really feel like making these like just generic announcements. Do I want to make them generic announcements? So for this, I could do something generic like the flesh has awakened, right? And then for Hellspawn egg, I could say something from hell emerges, right? But I don't know if that's as fun. They're more generic. They're more appropriate if those abilities get moved around, but it's less informative as well, because like most of the time players are just going to have it on the Hellspawn egg. Most of the time it's just going to be on the strange man. So I don't really think I should do anything about that. I think I'll just leave it as like a little oddity. It's not a big deal. Anyway, improvements. Improvements to hellspawn egg behavior. Look at that, the bug list is getting small. That's good. Do I use Yard or any sort of database to manage resources? I don't. My file system is my database. So here's all my card resources. And so basically at runtime, these are all the cards in the game. Wow, that's quite a long list. So these are all the cards in the game. These basically just get loaded up from the file system. And then when the run starts, I just like sort them into the proper buckets that they need to be sorted in. So like the loot table needs to be constructed, right? But there may be some items that are not unlocked. There may be some items that only belong to enemies. So those need to get placed in the proper loot tables or excluded from the loot tables entirely. But yeah. Did you do any marketing? Yeah, we're doing marketing. I have a publisher for the game, so they're doing marketing right now. They're responsible for doing the influencer outreach as well. And all these streams are somewhat of marketing as well. I mean, I am building the game, but also like putting this content out for people to watch draws attention to the game as well. Game seems so advanced, it's hard to find someone with such a complete game in Godot. Yeah, no, it's okay. The questions are okay, for sure. Late game development videos are hard to find. Yeah, I agree. And that's part of the reason why I do these streams. It's like, I feel like there's a lack of exactly that kind of content. So it can be very helpful for people to see like what like real, I don't know, maybe real is too pretentious of a term, but like what does the game development process look like for a game that is intending to be made to sell successfully on Steam, right? Whether or not it sells successfully on Steam is a totally different thing, but like I'm trying to make this game so that people want to buy it, so that it does well on Steam, so that it makes me some money. And yeah, I agree, there's not a whole lot of content out there that shows that, what that process is like. Added your multiplayer course to my wish list, going to tackle that one soon. Awesome. How do you manage so many cards? What if you need to change values in several cards to balance things like pure brain power, no tables? Excuse me. 1 second. Excuse me. So I'm trying to think of like, so the way I approached like balance for this game, broadly speaking, is I knew that I wanted all the numbers to be low. I wanted it to be the case that if you got an item with like 10 damage on it, that's actually a really large amount of damage. And keeping the numbers low and like readable and understandable helps a lot because there's a lot less room, right? So like if I increase the damage of something from 3 to 4, that's a 33.3 whatever percent power increase for just that ability, right? So like small tweaks to the numbers keeps them readable and understandable, but also produces like actually pretty significant results. So balancing, let's say like an undertuned item, is just as simple often as like increasing a couple of the numbers by like 1 or 2, and then it's fine, right? But the other thing is too, like since I know that I'm keeping all the damage values like somewhere in the range of like 1 to 6 for the most part, that makes it very easy to like, not very easy, but it makes it a lot more straightforward to like determine what is an appropriate amount of enemy health at every step of the game and so on and so forth. But yeah, it is an iterative process. You know, I had to go through and like update a bunch of things multiple times. But like I said, I think the low numbers make it easy to kind of keep the balance constrained or the options constrained. Because if I say, oh, well, like for example, so poison used to be very strong. Now it's a little bit weak, but poison was very strong. Even with like low poison values, like apply 3 poison or apply 4 poison, that was getting out of hand very easily. And so I knew I couldn't nerf it by just pushing the numbers down, because then everything would just be like apply 1 poison, and that wouldn't have been interesting, right? So I actually ended up just changing how poison works. And then the way I changed poison, gives me more control over like the DPS of poison, etc. So anyway, I guess what I'm saying is like I have limited options, relatively limited options when it comes to balancing, because all the numbers are so small. And then a lot of it is just like vibes based balancing, like, oh, I feel like that item is not very useful, so let's add a little extra something to it. Or this item is a little bit overtuned, so we'll either rework one of the abilities on it, or we'll just like turn down the numbers a little bit. And it's just kind of like, it's just, like I said, it's just vibes basically. Players who are playing the playtest currently will say, oh, this is a really easy build, or this is like a really strong item, or I always take this item. So if an item is like 100% take, that is a good indicator that it's a little bit too powerful, or maybe a lot too powerful, and that it either needs to be made more situational, or the numbers just need to be turned down, or both, right? Because like an item that is maybe not that strong but just works with every build is going to be picked very often. And so the solution to that in a lot of cases is to make it more situational, to add some kind of condition to one of the abilities that's making it powerful. And then because it's now situational, it's not an instant pick every time. So yeah, that's how I'm thinking about it anyway. The game is not perfectly balanced. There's still a lot of balance issues, but it's getting there. It's just an iterative process that needs to be refined over time. That was an opportunity for top 10 Alchemortis details you missed moment. Oh, which one? How do you manage level loading and scene changing? I've seen that the better way is just main scene and unload nodes in scene, contrary to rebuilding a tree. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. My main scene here is basically just a scene switcher. So I've got change to main menu, change to character select. And all it does is that just instantiates like the main menu or the character select scene and just puts it as a child under here. So it will just be like, oh, there's the main menu, right? And then when I need to go into a run, add the run manager, which is like, this is like what drives the whole game. Keep it low, it's easy to manage, great idea. Plus the file system, yeah. Yeah, it works pretty well. I have no complaints. Anyway. I'm still here, yes. I'm actually about to hop off, though. Unless there are any final questions. I think did we just get 2 bugs done? No, we did the magnifying glass one, too. I've been in this stream like 30 minutes and every single answer is pure gold. Well, happy to help. I'm glad you find it helpful. Do you ever get the assembly load failure in Godot when using signals with tool nodes? I don't understand if it's my fault or the C# integration is buggy. Yeah, I find that my experience too is that C# tool scripts are a little bit brittle. So I tend not to use tool scripts that often. I would love to use them more because they're incredibly useful, but I find that the more tool scripts I have in my project, the more opportunities there are for like the editor to just break. So I don't do that very often. Got to do fan for sure. Awesome. Very cool. All right, well, I'm going to end the stream there. So a nice little 2-hour stream. We did 5 hours of streaming today. But yeah, so for those of you that are new here, I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. Usually it's at around 10 a.m. Eastern time. So in 14 hours from now, I'll be back at it. You can wishlist Alchemortis on Steam. It's linked below the page. The Steam page is linked below. The playtest is still open, but it is going to be ending sometime this week. So for anyone that wants to try it, you don't have a whole lot of time to try it. The playtest has already been open for a couple weeks now. But you still have a little bit of time. So if you want to try it, you can. Add it to your wish list if the game looks interesting to you. I would appreciate that. And yeah, I think that's it. All right, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for support, and welcome to all the new people here. I hope to see you in future streams. And yeah, I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye for now.